As with most things in life, sleep can take some work. On today's episode, we want to talk about some things that you can do to try to set the stage for a good night's sleep and hopefully wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go in the morning. I'm Jay, and this is Somnilopod. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me. On today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about some of the work that goes into getting a good night's sleep. Now, unfortunately for some of us, getting a good night's sleep takes a little bit more effort than for others. There are some people that are able to just simply lay down, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and feel wonderfully refreshed. I am not one of those people. I haven't been for a long time. And more than likely, since you're listening to this episode, you probably aren't one of those people either. So just like any stage director or theater director will tell you, any production takes effort. So for example, a script has to be found. A venue has to be rented. Actors have to be hired. They have to rehearse. Stages have to be built. Lighting technicians have to do their thing. And finally, tickets are sold and it's opening night. Sometimes it feels like that much effort goes into getting a good night's sleep. So let's talk about some of the things that we can do to help set that stage so that we can get that good night's sleep. And when does getting a good night's sleep really begin? I'll tell you, it begins when you wake up in the morning. One of the best things that you can do to help consolidate your nighttime sleep is to have a steady wake time every single day. It is no fun. I'm here to tell you, it is not a good time having to wake up at the same time every day, even on the weekend, even on vacation. However, as we have discussed in the past, our bodies really, really like a habit, especially when sleep is concerned. So waking up at a consistent wake time every day is a really good way to sort of start that ball rolling. And one of the things you want to do shortly after you wake up is expose yourself to some light. Get outside. Since we humans are diurnal, which means that we sleep when it's dark and we're awake when it's light, there is a really important relationship between the amount of light that we receive and our ability to sleep at night. We've talked about this in the past, so check out some of our previous episodes for a little bit more on that. But being exposed to bright light in the morning is one of the better ways to help set your biological and your circadian rhythm. That way your body knows that it is time to be awake. So shortly after you wake up, if you have the availability of some sunlight to be able to step outside, take a walk around the block, give yourself, a good 10, 20, 30 minutes of exposure to some sunlight, then do that. That's actually going to kill two birds with one stone. Not only will you be exposed to some bright light, but you may also be getting some exercise, especially if you're walking around the block. And that is another tip that you can do during the day to help consolidate your nighttime sleep. Get some exercise. Even if it is just a few minutes walking around the block. Maybe you're stuck in an office. Get up. Take 10 minutes of your lunch break. Walk around in a circle. If you have the availability of walking inside, do that. You don't necessarily have to make it a big production, but go ahead and get some exercise, even if it's just a few minutes worth. Do that a few times during the day, and you'll find that those numbers, and especially if you track your steps, those numbers will increase over time. Your body will get used to being active when it is supposed to be active. So that's another habit that your body will get used to. Also, during the day, we need to limit that caffeine. And I know that this is difficult to do, because trust me, I have had to do it myself. I recently had some cardiac issues, and one of the things I had to cut back on severely was my caffeine intake. But I've done it. I've got down to 1 cup of coffee a day. And this is from a pot and a half of coffee. So no wonder I had some heart issues. I was drinking a pot and a half of coffee every day, but I have been able to go ahead and limit my caffeine intake, and you can too. Be cautious of the things that you're putting in your body. You can get caffeine from physicals or from liquid drinks, coffee, tea, soft drinks, but also chocolates and some foods can have a stimulating effect. So you want to try to be sure to avoid some of those, especially late in the day. Rule of thumb, if it's 6 hours before your bedtime, cut out all caffeine. Now, this is going to also include nicotine, because nicotine can be a stimulant. And I hate to tell anybody to stop smoking because it is a free country, at least last time I checked, but it's bad for your sleep. I'll say that. The nicotine, since it is a stimulant, it can not only affect your ability to get to sleep and stay asleep, but it also can affect your body's ability to process oxygen. So we don't want to limit our ability to breathe normally during sleep if we can help it. So that brings us to the evening. We've gotten through our day. We've taken those careful steps. So in the evening, we want to try to avoid really large meals. And the reason this is always a recommendation is because a lot of people have reflux or gastroesophageal reflux, heartburn, at night. So if you eat a sensible meal, then you're less likely to have as much heartburn, especially if you can avoid spicy foods late in the evening. That's also going to be a benefit to you because that can give you some indigestion that could disrupt your sleep or keep you from getting to sleep. In the evening, it's always good to have a nighttime routine. Just like when you get up in the morning, brush your teeth, you put your shoes on, you go out for that walk in that sunlight. At night, we need to do just the opposite. We need to find some calming, relaxing behaviors that are conducive to getting a good night's sleep. Take a warm bath. That's going to do two things. It's going to give you some time apart and sort of help you veg from your day of work. Also, as your body cools down, your internal temperature drops. That's what's needed to help get to sleep. So that can be work for us in two different ways. We always want to try to limit our screen time. That's television, computers, and phones. That blue light that is emitted by those devices sort of tricks our mind and keeps us from being able to get to sleep like we would normally by affecting the melatonin that's released in our brains. So try to avoid screen time if you can. If you do need to use, say you need to read a book on your iPad, be sure and set it to nighttime mode. It may not necessarily be as effective, but it is going to reduce the amount of blue light that your body is exposed to, and that will help your body and your mind get to the point where it needs to go to sleep. Now, all of these things taken together seem like a lot of work, don't they? But I tell you, just like we discussed, a production is just that. It is a production, and sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get to sleep. Now, there are those people that will still need, after even if you've done everything you're supposed to do as far as your sleep hygiene is concerned, you've gotten your exercise, you've limited your caffeine, you may still need a little bit of something to help you sleep. There are some things that you can do. For example, we've all heard about warm milk and honey. As a kid, I would have warm milk on occasion to help me get to sleep. And there really is some science behind that. The milk has a chemical called tryptophan, and it's a precursor to serotonin in our bodies. And serotonin helps us get to sleep. And adding some honey or some carbohydrates actually helps get the serotonin get the tryptophan into your system a lot faster. So something a little bit sweet with some carbohydrates can really help facilitate getting the tryptophan into your system. Also, studies have shown that both chamomile tea and valerian tea can help us get to sleep, and sometimes, in some cases, sleep a little bit more consistently and a little bit longer than normal. And we have also discussed in the past our good friend melatonin. Melatonin is an over-the-counter supplement that many of us, myself included, use to get a good night's sleep. Usually it comes in 1, 3, and 5 milligram doses. Start low if you've not tried it before, and work your way up as needed over a few nights just to see if it will help. Generally, you want to take that about an hour before bedtime, and it will start to take effect. And I believe that you'll notice a difference in the way you feel trying to get to sleep. If you are still, after trying all of these things, still struggling, it's time to talk to somebody about that. Talk to your primary care doctor. They may refer you to a sleep disorder center where they can investigate to see what's keeping you up at night, and they may recommend some other types of therapies that will be beneficial to helping you get a good night's sleep. So we have done all the work. The stage is set. The curtain is rising. The lights are going down, and it's time to get a good night's sleep. I hope this has been beneficial for you. I know it's been fun for me. I always enjoy talking about this stuff. I hope that comes through to you. Please remember to like and to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also keep an eye on YouTube. I'm going to start doing some cross-platform stuff. If you have any questions, or if you have some sleep remedies that you try that I haven't discussed that you feel work for you, send those things on. I will be happy to report that stuff to other people. Now, as I have mentioned in the past, I try to keep things grounded in science as much as I can, but if it works for you, it may work for somebody else. And if we can get the ball rolling, maybe some pharmaceutical company will pick that ball back up and decide to do some research on it. So we'll get to see some specific scientific evidence for the things that help us. And until we talk next time, please remember to make sleep a priority. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.